So, if you grew up in the late 1990s and the early 2000s, you have probably grew up watching The Fairly Odd Parents, or at least hearing about The Fairly Odd Parents from your friends who did watch The Fairly Odd Parents. A show about a married couple, fairy couple, called Cosmo and Wanda, who were the godparents to, of course, the godchild, 10-year-old Timmy Turner, who has a miserable life and who needs a little bit of fun. So this video is not about the show in a whole, even though, yes, I will be talking about it a lot. It's not really about them in a whole. It's mostly me going to be talking about how Poof, who is now named Peri, if you guys watched the new show, A New Wish, if you guys watched A New Wish, then you guys know that his new name is in fact Peri, because apparently Poof is a slur in some countries, so they had to change his name to Peri, which I'm not mad about. I don't really care that much. It's better than Poof, that's all I'll say. It's a better name than Poof. But I'm going to be explaining how his character saved the Fairly Odd Parents not once, but twice in both shows, and I will explain why. And I know someone already made a video like with the same title. I'm sorry, I'm a copier. But I'm gonna obviously, have my own spin on it, and I'm gonna be talking about how it saved the show both times instead of just in The New Wish. So sit and relax and let you hear my analysis. So I'm just going to be giving a little backstory about the Fairly Odd Parents in a whole, in case you guys just are curious about how the show came to be. Yes, the show technically started as shorts as part of the Oh Yeah cartoon shorts segment. And of course their segment was called The Fairly Odd Parents by Butch Hartman, who is of course the creator of the show, and he was the creator since the very beginning, when it was on the Oh Yeah shorts in 1999, all the way from 2017 for when the first show ended. So basically, yes, it was 10 episodes of shorts that was Fairly Odd Parents segment, where we get to see how they actually met, we get to see their different personality changes, because they do change a lot once the show continues. Their personality changes a lot, and the voice actors, even though the voice actors are pretty much the same, the voice actors of Cosmo and Wanda are the same, but unfortunately the original voice actor for Timmy actually passed away before the show became an actual show, so they had to replace her with Tara Strong.
I'm a voice actor. Of course I am. Juice, rubber, there's green moose, mama juice, giant egg, birthday cake, large fries, chocolate shake!
So since the shorts were pretty successful, it actually was approved to become a full-blown show in 2001. And the show was actually doing pretty popular for the first 4 seasons. It was really popular. Everyone enjoyed it. It was so popular until it started to have a decline in about the year 2007, where they did unfortunately hit a fork in the road and the reviews and ratings start to decline. So according to Butch Hartman himself, because if you guys are curious, he has a TikTok account where he answers a lot of these questions, and he does answer the question, why did they add Poof?
I'm sure you've answered this before, but why did they add Poof to the Fairly Odd Parents? Well, let's talk about it.
And so according to his words, he basically just said, yes, there was a decline in Fairly Odd Parents in 2007, but one of the people from the studio asked him, saying if he was planning on making like a new special for Fairly Odd Parents, because when they did that in the past, it became really popular and it boosted views, like when they did the Christmas specials and the Jimmy Timmer Power Hours. So Butch actually did pitch the idea of having Cosmo Wanda have a baby, because it was something that he initially wanted to do for a while, but he was actually kind of nervous that it would be like jumping the shark too much, so he kind of held off on it. But since they wanted a special, he decided to give it a shot. And after a lot of times where they, revented his design changes, where they kind of went through different names, they finally decided on the character that we all know and the name we all know as Poof. And still to this day, the episode Fairly Odd Baby is the highest rated episode in the entire franchise. Initially, the Fairly Odd Parents was actually planned to end around the Fairly Odd Baby episode, and it was actually supposed to be the last episode of the whole series, because they really did not think that it would matter, but it actually did so incredibly well. It was like, it blew up. They actually were greenlit for many more seasons to come. And of course, the rest is history. To put in perspective on how popular this episode it was the second rated television event in 2008 next to the Super Bowl. I know. But since The Fairly Odd Baby did so well, whenever the views started to go down, they thought, hey, let's add a new character. It worked for the baby. Why don't we add a new one? So every time the views went down, they would add a new big character. And the first, or technically the second, character they added in a long time was the fairy dog Sparky in season 9.
Hey Timmy, can you help me bury this bone and this bag of evidence? I know what you're thinking, but they're unrelated.
But his character was extremely hated by viewers. So much, in fact, that when the next season was actually starting, they literally got rid of his character, with no explanation. He was just completely written off of the show, never to be seen again. They took him out like Old Yeller. But from that catastrophe, they apparently still did not learn their lesson, and then they added a new character, but this time it was even worse. This is the character that initially killed Fairly Odd Parents. Yes, I'm talking about Chloe Carmichael. Not only did they add this unwanted character, but they also changed the theme song. After 10 seasons with the iconic theme song that we came to know and love, they changed the theme song, beyond repair. It's so bad that it almost looks like a parody.
Parents, Fairly Odd Parents. More than one? This should be fun. Odd Parents, Fairly Odd Parents. Medicine, nature boots, laser shoot, rescue.
World peace, fail treats, buddy, need real treats. What? No, leave me alone. My fairies, get you out.
I feel like the main reason why Chloe was such a breaking point with the show, because the show wasn't really doing that well to begin with at this point, but the reason why it was a breaking point is because she had way too much effect with the show. When Poof came into the picture, he was a nice addition because he was obviously part of Cosmo and Wanda's family. People love Cosmo and Wanda, so they just added him, and of course he doesn't really do anything. He's a baby. He's just there, he's cute. It's easy to kind of make stories about him growing up in this household. And then Sparky, even though, yeah, he's kind of annoying, lots of people did not like his voice, did not like his character, he really was not in most of the episodes after his initial debut episode. They didn't even know what to do with his character. He generally did not have a purpose in the show. But when they added Chloe, she, took over the show. She was almost like the new Timmy at that point. She was in every episode. Because, in case you guys don't remember, she did, in fact, have to share Cosmo and Wanda. But to make matters even worse, the whole point of, fairies is to give it to someone who actually needs them. But Chloe really did not need them that much. Sure, she was just a normal kid. Every kid has struggles. But she had a relatively perfect life. She was pretty much in every single episode until the show ended in 2017. And no, the show did not get revived again until they made another spin-off show in 2022. And it was a live-action show called Fairly Odder.
Odd Parents, Fairly Odd Parents. It's what you meet when you were a kid with Fairly Odd Parents in real life.
And that show did not last more than a season. And I've seen some clips from it. And yeah, it's not good. But no, they did not give up on the Fairly Odd Parents. They still wanted to make it a thing. So, did they give up after the downfall of Fairly Odder? No, they made a new show called A New Wish.
Whole life changed with a pair quite strange, 'cause in reality they heard news. Odd Parents, Fairly Odd Parents.
That, of course, aired in 2024. And this show has, really good reviews. People love this show. Some people actually say that's even better than the original show, which personally I can't really agree with, but it is people's opinions. So we meet Cosmo and Wanda's new god kid named Hazel Wells, who is different than Timmy in every way. She's bubbly, kind, and selfless. People also tend to like the way that they wrote Cosmo and Wanda. They wrote them as a cute married couple again, just like how they were in the beginning seasons of the Fairly Odd Parents. And they actually made Wanda kind of match Cosmo's dumb energy, so she's not always babysitting him.
Oh no! I think Dale has been studying Hazel since Founders Day! It might take him a little longer, but he always gets there!
But as you can probably tell from my 1 hour long review about the show, I wasn't really a fan to begin with. Yes, I do know that I'm way over the age range from the show, so this isn't me being super passionate about me hating the show. It's just personally not my cup of tea. But then finally, all of a sudden, I see online, because I didn't really watch the show that much anymore. I watched the first few episodes, I wasn't a fan, and then I stopped. But then I did see people posting online that Poof came back as an adult.
Hey kid, I'm Poof. Well, at least I was. I changed my name to Peri, like Periwinkle.
Who is now named Peri, because of the reasons I already mentioned. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought it was fake. Like, I thought it was like a fan art that someone created or an edit thing, but I was like, nope, this is real apparently. And Peri is how people suspected. He is indeed a godparent to the kid Dev Dimmadome, who is the grandson of Doug Dimmadome. And right away, people were freaking smitten with Peri's character design. So the thing that I always liked about the Fairly Odd Parents growing up is that it had continuity. Like, it had structure to it. Like, yeah, there was some episodes that, like, of course, didn't really mean anything. It was a more, like, filler episodes, I guess. But honestly, what show doesn't once in a while? But as we know, the premise of the original Fairly Odd Parents was about a young boy who had a miserable life and was assigned Fairly Odd Parents, or fairy godparents, to make his life a little bit happier. And then as the show goes on, we get to see, like, the really bond and connection that they get towards the end.
Well, they make me feel safe. They make me feel special. They make me feel loved. They may make a few mistakes, but they're my pals. And I love them more than anything.
And we eventually learn about the morals of growing up. And then we get to the new show, A New Wish. And the first episode I actually did really like. Because I'm not gonna lie, I do really like the concept of Cosmo and Wanda coming out of retirement to be godparents to a child who needs them. Instead of them being assigned to her, they chose her, which I found pretty sweet. But as the show kind of continued on and the episodes became shorter, because the first episode was 22 minutes, and then of course the other episodes were like split in half, they were only 11 minutes. I thought the characters came out like really like one-dimensional, kind of dull, and some things would happen for like the sake of nonsense. And sometimes they almost like didn't know what to do with their 11 minutes of runtime, so they would like rush the ending really quick, and it would be kind of unsatisfying. But then we get to the episode where we finally see Poof, which is the very, very end, like the end credit section of the 2-part episodes called Founders Day. And as I mentioned before, people started freaking loving his character, okay? And I'm not gonna lie, I kinda did too. I had to watch his scenes because they were great. Because he looks very snazzy, yet he's still an absolute sweetheart like he was as a baby. Peri was also the first original character to return in this show, obviously besides Cosmo and Wanda. Since then, we got AJ, we got Crocker, we got Vicky, and we recently just got FOP. So even in this show, Peri is still making freaking history about being the first out of 1 million characters to be introduced. But all the ratings on IMDb really aren't that bad when it comes to this show, surprisingly. But the episode where Peri makes his debut appearance is definitely the biggest rated show in the entirety so far, having a 9.4 out of 10 on IMDb. So it's very interesting to see Peri become like the godparent, because we always see him as a tiny baby in the original show. See him as a full-blown adult and a godparent to his very first god kid, who is Dev Dimmadome, a kid that we knew since the very beginning of A New Wish. And as we of course know, he is that troubled kid. Many of the viewers think the most interesting part about the whole show is actually Dev and Peri's relationship, which again brings lots of continuity to the show. It's a well-written arc that has lots of potential. Because if you guys watch the show, you can tell that Dev really isn't a bad kid. He just has a bad life. He has a very neglectful father, and if I'm being completely honest, I think his father is even more neglectful than Timmy's parents were. Because at least Timmy's parents made the time to say how much they actually do love Timmy, even though they don't really show it that often. But I don't think Dev has ever heard those words come out of his father's mouth, who also forgets his birthday every single year. Yet, Timmy's parents seem to have remembered his birthdays a few episodes. And so far in the show, we also see that Peri never gave up on his kid, no matter the fights they had.
You know what, Dev? I'm done.
Oh yeah? Well, I'm done-er.
I'm the dunnest.
Stick a fork in both of us then.
Fine.
Good.
Great.
Newsflash, could've used your help an hour ago. I wish you would leave me alone.
As you wish, kid.
Even though sometimes Dev snaps and tells Peri how much he does not want him around, but he ends up always coming back. It makes room for like a really nice development and bond moment, which I am living for. Development. If you guys know, you know. He also made the viewers go like up since then, because no one really even knew about the show until Poof came back, because he generally like made the show like blow up. Like, it wasn't really doing bad in the beginning, but it was like blowing up, guys. Like, because I didn't even watch the show anymore at that point. But then I did hear about Poof coming back, and I saw videos upon videos about it on TikTok. People redrawing him. Like, I've seen so many of them. So that's why I think that Peri is a freaking savior in more ways than one. So there's my little analysis. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I want you guys to let me know if you guys watched this show, because again, I made my whole 1 hour long review on this show. So if you guys want to watch that, go check it out. It's my latest video. I believe it is. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.